Wow. It didn't give a countdown. So let me see. Yeah, it's working. Wow, that's weird. I guess because it's Zoom. Hello, everybody. This is Tammy, Texas Desert Rose, back out here recording again. I don't know. I think I had to go through the end of the year, get to the first of the year to get back in the game again. Been doing a whole lot of stuff here in Bahrain. I'm back in Bahrain for those of you who don't know that. And I've been out doing some singing and of course doing some gigs. And it's almost like I have to do whack-a-mole with my creative process or something, you know, I can only do one thing at a time, apparently. But a little bit chilly here in Bahrain, believe it or not. The Middle East, I didn't think got chilly, but it's about 62 to 65 here. Rainy a lot of the time, so ready to get through the winter. To you guys stateside, that may not sound very cold, but when you're on an island, it's with humidity, it's pretty chilly. So I have a very special guest with me that I have known, I think, quite a few years. And he shared something on Facebook that I was very impressed with, and you don't get to see or read that often. And I just wanted to have him on to share his experiences in hopes that it will benefit someone out there. I very rarely meet someone who literally just picks up their life and says, you know what, this isn't working for me. I'm just going to make a huge life change, life shift. It's just not that common. I have done that. And even when I wasn't moving for a job, I moved, you know, overseas, and it was very scary. And a lot of people, I got a lot of negative feedback. I'm sure that you will share some of that too. A lot of negative feedback, a lot of not don't do it, but just, you know, oh, be careful, especially coming to the Middle East. The perception is that, you know, I'm going to have Taliban after me or something. And I've been here in Bahrain off and on for 6 years now. The best thing I ever did was to take a risk and come here. The suggestion of a friend of mine who had worked here. It's a great life. It's not for everybody. It's really worked for me. And it's the fear-based statements that's made me want to spread the word to people that almost without fail, if you take the risk, you're going to be better off, because it's your gut, it's your intuition nagging you saying, you know what, this is not working anymore, take the risk. So let me introduce to you Mr. Jefferson. Hello, Jefferson, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, you bet. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's see. We know each other we're from good old Denton, Texas. Yeah. I'm from there. That's where I met you. Are you from there? Hello, kitty cat.
Yeah, I grew up there.
Okay. Same. And not a bad place to grow up, but didn't take me long to figure out I outgrew it. How about you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've moved around a little bit in my life. And I mean, I spent my whole adolescence trying to figure out how to escape. So,
so it didn't fit for you early on.
Yeah.
What were your little inklings? Can you identify anything that's just made it not fit for you?
But I don't know. I mean, it was just, yeah, I just felt like I was meant for bigger places to do other things. You know, I mean, when I was living there, population of Denton was about 48,000, right?
Wow.
You know, when I was in school.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be an actor. You know, I wanted to do theater, do comedy, do all that kind of stuff. And
Did you really?
Yeah. You know, I mean, I majored in it in college. Wow. And so, you know, I knew that Denton was not a place where I could really pursue those things and make any kind of steady living.
A safe assumption there.
Right. So, you know, I went to college in Boston, and my original plan was to move to New York afterwards. But after 4 New England winters, I realized that was not going to happen.
Did it get a little bit cold? Get a little bit cold there?
Well, it's not just the cold; it's that there was so much snow. Yeah. You know, the winter of '92 was 78 or 78 as far as snowfall. So
Say that again,
yeah,
because I think my internet lagged. I want to make sure the listeners didn't lag also. Last thing I heard was the winter of 92.
yeah. So the winter of 92 had more cumulative snowfall than the winter of 78, which,
Pretty
that
vicious.
was the big record snowfall in all over the country, right?
Yeah.
So, I moved to Los Angeles instead, was there for 22 years. I had some marginal success, but not of course the level that I wanted, but I still did it. I
So you're
don't
a risk
regret any,
taker at heart.
yeah. And after things kind of dried up for me in my acting career and stuff, I decided to move back home and spend time with my family in 2016. And, I'm glad I
I
did
came here
that.
for the first time. So what, 6
Yeah.
years, almost 7 years ago. Got it.
Yeah. And so I moved back, and it was never going to be permanent. It was just, I wanted to spend time with my nieces and nephews that I hadn't really spent any time with.
Nice.
And then after a while, I mean, I got, I got this job and I got relocated to Sherman, and Sherman's definitely about as far away from, I'm sure there's plenty of people that live in Sherman and they love it and they're happy, but it just wasn't me. It
Well,
just,
and on that note, I think that's true for any place we would talk about. It's a lot of people's zen, their perfect place, and other people are there
sure.
and don't necessarily want to be, but you knew that it was definitely not a fit for you.
Right. Right. So, after a couple of years, living in Sherman, I knew that I wanted to get out, and I started exploring other places where I wanted to go. I didn't really want to go back to LA, and I talked to my friends that lived there, and the job market in Los Angeles when I left was terrible.
And that
Really
was
tough.
that 2016, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I talked to my friends that lived there, and they said not even after COVID, it's still pretty bad. The job market is still pretty bad. I have a dog, and finding a dog-friendly apartment in Los Angeles is very difficult. So,
In that way, yeah.
so I just started thinking about, where I wanted to go. Of course, my friends in Boston want me to come back there, and I'm like, yeah, that is never happening. um,
If you know, you
and so,
know. If you don't
yeah,
know, then you find out.
right. Right. And so then, I found out my dad moved to Southern Colorado about 4 years ago. And I hadn't really gotten up to see him because where he lives and where I was living in Texas, it's really difficult to travel to, because you have to go to the airport, you have to fly into Denver, you have to rent a car. It's about a 10-hour trip from Sherman. I mean, even if
Might as well go to Korea.
yeah, even if I flew, it's still going to take about 10 hours to get there, so I mean, and then I found out he had some very serious health issues.
Oh,
So Denver seemed to make a lot of sense. And I'd been here before a couple times on vacation, but I hadn't really thought about moving here.
so that's
So
where you are now.
yeah, yeah. So I flew up here the second weekend in April,
Mhm.
and I loved it here. I mean, I went out and I talked to people and asked them like, hey, what's it like living here? Blah, blah, blah. And nobody was really like, oh, this is a terrible place to live and you shouldn't come here. Everybody was like, oh, Denver's great. I mean, it's overcrowded, but I explained to them, look, that's every place in the country right now. That's not just Denver. I mean, I said that earlier that Denton had about a 48,000, the population was about 48,000 when I was in high school. What's 110,000 people now?
And
So
that does not count our 3 university students.
right, right. So, I mean, it's a city that's outgrown its infrastructure, and it's difficult to drive around there.
To
I
get
mean,
across the city now, I think 45 minutes or so.
sure, and so I decided that, well, I mean, that's not a reason, right? To move someplace because it's overcrowded, and then some people told me it was really expensive. But then, when I got back home from that weekend and I started looking at the salaries and the job market, I mean, Yeah, it's expensive, but the salaries are way higher here than what I was making. I mean, I'm making 50% more money than I was making in Texas.
So it's a little bit like going to, I know this is not a parallel comparison, but it's like going to California. Yeah, you're going, it's the cost of living's higher, but you're also going to be making
A lot,
higher.
a lot more money, not just a little bit, a lot more.
50%'s a lot.
Most of the jobs here, I mean, most of the jobs here that I see posted when you go into places start at $18 an hour just to
Wow.
start. So that's in Texas, they're still paying like, $10, $11 an hour. So you're making a lot more money.
Wow. That's,
Um,
plus you're, I would imagine, an adventurer at heart.
yeah, yeah. And so, I got back and I started applying for jobs right away. And I even talked to a recruiter at one point because I was very motivated to get out of there. And the recruiter told me it was going to take at least 2 months for me to have a job. And I had a job 10 days. In 10 days, I had a job.
Oh, really? Something,
Yeah.
something aligned there, Jefferson. Something aligned.
Yeah. The scariest part, honestly, was finding a place to live. Because
Wow.
like I was supposed to start on May 16th. And as of May 9th, I didn't have an apartment. So
You
I
love that adrenaline rush. That was probably a little bit much though.
it was pretty scary, but then that month, like I was all set to move on the 12th. I had the van rented, I had everything ready to go.
Wow.
But I didn't have a place to put it. I didn't know if I was going to have to put everything in storage and stay in a motel for a little while until I found a place. But then that Monday, the what was that? What date was that? The 16th? Or no, the 9th. Monday the 9th.
Okay.
I found a place. And it just all worked out. Obviously I didn't get to see it, but at least I had a place to sleep and put my stuff and and actually move into. And
not even active duty, but those of us who work overseas of military bases, it's very rarely to get a place without doing it sight unseen. I mean, it's like the normal. It's
sure,
scary,
but no, it was scary, but I mean, it just, I just kind of felt like, I don't know, when I applied for the job I got, it just felt right. Like I knew that I was going to get that job when I interviewed for it.
Wow.
So
I love that. It feels like everything's kind of coming together. Now, having said that, even places I know that I'll never really go back to, there was always something that I missed about it. What, if anything, do you miss? Not necessarily about Sherman, but about that area of Texas.
Well, I have a lot of friends in Texas, and I miss seeing them.
Yeah.
There are some restaurants that I miss. I mean, Sherman, honestly, like the Lake Texoma is a beautiful lake, right?
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous lake, and I miss going there. So, I mean, I have a motorcycle, and certainly riding my motorcycle in Sherman, it was way more fun than riding it in Denver. I will say that.
Even in the spring.
Yeah, just because I mean, I live in a pretty urban section of Denver.
Right.
And
Denver gets hot too, from what I understand. I mean, it's
it,
valley, right?
it does, but there's a big difference between riding a motorcycle on the back roads in Sherman to riding it on the highways in Denver.
Wow. So you still get to ride a bike, which is good.
Yeah. And it's funny because my animals are happier here.
Well, I believe that they actually, because they communicate through intuition, and you're happier, they pick up on that. They can.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. But my cat in particular is a completely different pet than she was.
Most intuitive. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's something I wouldn't think to ask you. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So Are you willing to share what was, I mean, maybe you can't even put words to it because some places have not fit for me and I couldn't really tell you why, but others I can be very clear on it. What was it that let you know now's the time? Your dad's health certainly figured into that.
Well, I just wasn't happy. I mean, I wasn't making a lot of friends. So it was very difficult. I mean, I'm single. It was difficult for me to meet women there,
That you
um,
related to or just meet them, period?
meet them, period.
Okay.
And then it just didn't fit with the way that I'm wired. And I mean, it's an hour drive to Dallas from there. It's 30 minutes to Durant, but in Durant, the only thing to do there is go to the casino, and I'm not a gambler, so
Even if you
it's
are, it can not be the greatest too. Wow. Yeah.
so. I mean, I just kind of felt like I was stuck.
See, I just saw this visual because my intuition comes through visuals. I just saw this visual of you trying to get a peg, was it round into a square hole?
Yeah, that's
And
exactly it.
it just didn't fit, just did not fit. And man, I don't know about you, but whenever I make, and I've done it recently, when I make a decision that's a little bit scary, but it's for my good, the benefits are immediate.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean,
Getting a job, finding a place
it-
to live.
when I tell people that I had a job in 10 days after filling out applications, they just can't believe that. That just does, especially when you're living in another state. I mean, a lot of places won't even look at your application because they're like, how's that going to work? You know,
Yeah,
so
or how long is he gonna stay? Is he transient? I mean, I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff that comes up, especially when the market is flooded with employees. If
right,
it's not, then it's different.
right.
But a lot of people want to move to Colorado. So
Well, they say 10,000 people a week are moving
just in the last 5 years.
here. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I would imagine so. And Texas is experiencing that as well with, our no state tax and all that, but,
sure.
and a lot of, cost of real estate, all of that. But so give us an idea of what your life looks like now. You've been there 8 months, so not the longest, but you've been there long enough to get your sea legs, mountain legs.
So I mean, I manage a car repair shop in Boulder,
Mm,
and
good
I,
to know.
I'm really lucky in that I have the only car repair shop in South Boulder. It's 6 miles to the nearest competition for me.
Yeah.
Um,
And when a
you
car
know,
breaks down, you want it to be a few miles, not six.
right, right, right. So it's the store. I mean, I'm doing very well at my job.
Wonderful.
I mean, I'm really like the sales from month to month have gone way, way up. And I just had a meeting with my boss on Thursday.
Mhm.
That one of the people that own this, they live in Wyoming, and they were in town on Thursday, and they came and talked to me, and they let me know, how well I was doing. And now
Nice to hear.
there are things that I need to work on, and there's things that we need to do better, and all of that. But overall, overall, I'm doing a great job, and that's a great feeling to know that
It's nice
that
to hear.
well, I mean, it's nice to hear, but it's also, I mean, I get a lot of satisfaction in that, knowing that I made the right decision in coming. Because it was scary, and I was worried about, what if I get this job and I completely screw up in the first couple months, and now I got to find someplace else. 'Cause, yeah, it is expensive here, and this is not a place where you can come and get behind on your bills really quickly. You're gonna drown.
Yeah.
So
Well, good point. And, just the idea that, I don't know about you, but when I made my change and took my risk, um, and I'm talking about the time, not because I moved for a job, but I moved myself and said, I'm going to move there. I love the place. I'm going to open a business. And I think my worst fear, not my worst fear, but one of my fears was having to turn tail and go back home and go, whoop, my bad, screwed that up, And so I don't know, was that any in the back of your mind? You didn't want to,
Well, I mean, so worst comes to worst. I mean, I was already in that area anyway, you
yeah,
know. So
that's
so
true.
if I had to go back there, it wouldn't be the end of the. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I mean, I was there anyway. But I was very determined to try to make living here work. You
To
know,
pull up anchor and make that your only option, because they say
yeah,
remove the options and that'll keep you more vested in the game, so to speak. You know,
right.
like you're going, you're going to make it work or else, and it's going to work if you put all of your heart into it. It's just going to be
No,
tough times.
no. I mean, It's weird because I mean, I can't tell you how many jobs I applied to. I don't know. It was a lot. I was applying to like 15, 20 jobs a day, and I had a
That's
lot of
devotion.
and I had a lot of options. You know, there were a lot of people that were willing to take a chance. Well, I mean, I have a lot of experience, so there's
Yes.
that.
Well, also
So,
your position is not that common. I mean,
right, right,
assuming mechanical awareness and knowledge, that's not that common.
right. But I've managed a lot of different types of businesses. You know, I mean, I've managed a pool supply place. I managed a car dealership. I've managed music stores. You know, so
Okay.
I bring a lot to the table, and you know, I mean, and I had 4 or 5 jobs that I could have picked from, but I felt like this was the best fit for my skill set, and also, you know, like the salary was right. You know, I don't have that many employees, which I love.
Yes.
I don't like, you know, when I was assistant manager at Guitar Center Hollywood, I had 124 salespeople. That's hard.
And salespeople, they're a whole nother level of sometimes difficult.
Right. You know, at my place now, I have an assistant manager and I have 3 mechanics.
Oh
You
my
know,
goodness, that's awesome.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I
I know.
really get so and training and developing people is one of my favorite things to do, and I have, you know, I have an opportunity to really do that with these guys. So
Well, you have the time I've known you, Jefferson, you have a lot of heart. So I would think that the people that you manage and supervise are they feel cared for, like you're not
yeah,
just, it's not just a job for you.
no, I've always felt that I felt like, you know, and I think this is one of the reasons employers I've had like me is because I feel like when you hire somebody, you have a responsibility to make sure they have the opportunity to have the best living that they can. It's not just, well, we'll hire you and see what you do. It's like, no, you need to nurture those people, and you need to make sure they have all the tools they need to succeed. And it's your job as an employer to give those to your employees.
That's
You know,
nice. That would be a nice lesson to the rest of the world who are in that
yeah.
position to manage people, is to feel that responsibility and take it that seriously and with passion. It's
No,
beautiful.
I mean, it's up to the employee whether or not they want to
Sure.
do that. You know, but I feel like, I mean, I've always had really good luck with retention when I've run businesses, and I
Absolutely.
know and I know that's why. I know it's because I really take a vested interest in their livelihood. You know, that I want them to succeed. And you know, when I hear about places that have high turnover, I'm like, it's because you don't care about your people.
Absolutely. Well, and employee morale is top down, meaning that
Right, right,
whatever your attitude is, it's going to bleed through the industry, and that's good or bad. So you caring is helping the morale. Well, that's going to come out in the final numbers as you're getting the feedback for. And if I'm
yeah,
living out of state, out of country, and I've got a business, as I do, it means a lot to me to have somebody that I can let go and just trust to run it like it's his own. And it sounds like you're.
right, right.
Any regrets at all? Or I don't
No,
hate to say regret, because you're not
no,
the kind to live in regret.
no, there's nothing about the last few months that I would change. You know, being able to spend time with my dad and trying to keep his spirits up. I mean, you know, we haven't really talked too much about that, but he's not in good shape. You know, he's not at this point in his life. He's not going to recover from all the illnesses that he had. He's just not.
Just not
But
even, it's many things.
you know, yeah, he and so being able to, and when I go to see him, I don't judge him, or I don't, lecture him about the choices that he's made that have led to this. I just go
So
down.
no purpose, right?
Right. No, there's no point. There's absolutely no point. I mean, so I just go down there and spend time with him and try to keep spirits up and talk about whatever he wants to talk about. If he
Yeah.
needs me to run him to the grocery store, I'll do that for him. And he's a cantankerous, crotchety old man, though, so he's not always the best company, but I just, eat it and just sit there and not say anything about it and just let him say what he's going to say, and just,
Mhm.
I just want to make his life as easy as I can, because I don't know how much longer he's going to be here. It's just the reality of it,
Like Jefferson, we can learn a lot from you in a lot of different areas. And if I remember correctly, I know there's times your dad has been there and been support to you as well.
Oh, absolutely. My dad, gosh, when I was growing up, he was, and I told him, I mean, how many, hey, Dad, I want to move to Boston and be an actor, you know.
Right. And he's,
You
he's
know,
like, well, okay.
no, it was fun. It was never, it wasn't even a contentious point. It's just like, well, if that's what you want to do, then go for it.
Love that. That is the best thing to give you wings, the best thing. So good for him. And I know hearing you talk about it, I can take this as an example myself too. I do try to support my kids no matter what they want, what they, but sometimes it can get a little bit scary because I think I feel more anxiety for my kids than I do for my own steps. Like I'll take all the
Sure,
risk. I'm afraid for them,
sure.
But so I know that we've got this time really flies by, flies by. Is there any areas that any words you would have to say anybody out there who's like, I'm just not happy. I'm taking different ways to work just so I can have some excitement, but I'm really just not happy and considering a move themselves or taking a big risk.
Well, I mean, I would say, do your research, about like
Good to
places that
know.
you might want to live. You don't just guess. I mean, I did a lot of research about this place. I mean, not just visiting here. I went on the internet and said, what is life like in Denver? What's the average cost of living, salary? What kind of environment is it? And it's funny because like they bring up the crime rate in a lot of articles about Denver, that it's got
Yeah,
a really high, not violent crime, but like petty theft, burglary, vandalism, stuff like that.
that's a gathering in a city of people anywhere.
Well, that's what I was going to say is any populated area, I don't care if it's red, blue, what, north, south, east, west, whatever, there's going to be crime. You just have to do things to protect, I mean, I've got a GPS on my motorcycle. I don't, the building that I lived in is a secured building.
Good.
When I park my car at work, even though it's in Boulder, which is a very upscale part of the Denver area, I
Mhm.
park my car where I can see it at work.
Just be
One of the guys, just be smart about things.
Do your research, check crime rate, check median income, check job availability, opportunity, if possible, try to get a job if you need to before you relocate, because it's not cheap to relocate.
No, it's not at all. But but the thing of it is that, I mean, like I said, I'm still living in Texas, and I had 4 or 5 offers, and I had my pick of what job I wanted to get. So don't worry about that. I would say just do it, and it doesn't hurt anything to try. It doesn't hurt.
Nope.
There's no cost to downloading an Indeed or any of those job apps and trying to find a job in another state. It doesn't cost you a penny.
Well, and that
So
brings up another idea, not a bad idea to get pen to paper, old term, and literally write down what's your worst fear, or, the age old question, what would you do today if you knew what you couldn't fail?
right. Well, I mean, even so, I would say, like, what is it about your life that's making you the most miserable? What's causing you the most anxiety, the most stress? and then just find a way to change it, come up with a plan, and then find and then go get it. I mean, there's nothing, the only thing that's stopping you from being happy is you. That's it.
Well, and you did this change about the same, there's something about the cusp of 50, right before turning
Right.
50, where you just go, you know what, it's now or never. I made some huge decisions at that time too. I usually do about every 5 years anyway, and I'm sure I'm due for another one. But it's just, what do you have to lose?
Right.
Happiness is
Right.
just a lot.
The only thing, the only thing that you have to lose is time and your own happiness. And you need to, you've got to figure out what you need to do to make yourself happy. And it might, it might just be that you need a different job. It might just be that not necessarily move 800 miles away like I did, but maybe it's 30 miles away.
Or out near nature where you can go and hike a lot easier, or if that's your
Sure.
thing. And all the research shows that even if you've never done it, it's worth taking it up,
Sure.
Or getting a therapist to work through some of this, or somebody, a trusted friend who's not going to give you the negative messages to allow you to process this stuff out and support. But for those of out there who are listening, who would like to contact you, ask questions, give comments, what's your email, Jefferson?
Yeah, I'll spell it. It's because it's not that easy to, because I named my email after a Shakespeare character, because my last name's very common, and I didn't
Theater
want
to the end. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just didn't want to, I didn't want like my last name 5billion@gmail.com, so it's M as in Mary, A as L, V as in Victor, OLIO 999@gmail.com. So Malvolio999@gmail.com.
Okay. MALVOLIO999@gmail.com.
Yeah, it's Malvolio is a character from Twelfth Night by Shakespeare. So
Nice. Theater to the end. I love it. I hope if you're not, I hope you'll consider getting involved with the theater there to volunteer.
yeah, I mean, I've done some stuff, like I've done some stand-up since I've been here, and
Yay, good for you. And you're
yeah,
quite a singer too.
and that's what I like about living here, is that there's so many options. Like just about whatever I want to do, I can do it. Like if I want to go try to get in a play, I can. If I want to do some stand-up, I can. If I want to go in a band again, I can. I can do.
You're a free spirit. You are a free spirit, but I want to thank you so much for being willing to do this. And you guys reach out to Jefferson, and any comments, questions, and it means a lot to me.
No, I'm very, like I said, I'm very flattered that you asked me, and I'm always happy to share. I mean, I have a lot of experience, so I would love for somebody to get something out of it.
So we may just have to do another one of these. So stay tuned.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Okay. Can you hear me still?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yay. I stopped the video. Yay. And we made it right under the wire, because I forgot that there is there's a time limit. Hold on. Let me see here. It stopped my video. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I'll call you. And
Okay.